What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and congratulations to all Tennessee Volunteers fans, to all Florida Panthers fans. The sports world is moving, is turning, is revolving, is orbiting. Whatever happens to the sports world, I don't know, but we are now at the point where we basically have only Major League Baseball, although this year we have the Euros and the Copa America to help us sustain ourselves until football returns, which thankfully for us, if you want to call it this, is less than a month away. This being training camp. Dallas Cowboys training camp, of course, kicks off on July 24th. I'm putting this video together for you on Tuesday, July 25th, which means, yes, we have less than a month to go. So if you have not yet, please consider subscribing right here to the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel, where I talk about the Dallas Cowboys all the time, basically 24/7, 365, 366 in the case of 2024, a leap year. That's right. Leap years are Olympic years and presidential years. I didn't really realize that until speaking the sentence right now. But we are the most subscribed to individual team channel across all of the SB Nation universe. So make sure you are part of all the fun that we're having around here. If you like what I do, once again, my name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads at RJ Ochoa, or on TikTok at rj.ochoa. We are continuing with our Dallas Cowboys roster breakdown series, where we're looking at each and every position group on the Dallas Cowboys in excruciating detail in the lead up to the aforementioned training camp that begins on July the 24th. This is the final offensive position group that we're going to get to, and we have saved the big boys up front for last. The Dallas Cowboys offensive line, the subject of today's discussion. Dang it, I almost made it through my monologue without a single stutter. So without further ado, I'll remind you to please read my article that I've written about this subject at bloggingtheboys.com. Probably going to come out on say Wednesday. I have a lot of energy, if that wasn't obvious. I had a Chick-fil-A grilled nugget meal for lunch, so I'm just kind of soaring right now. And let's just go ahead and get to it. So here is the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, or rather, here are the offensive linemen for the Dallas Cowboys. Starters, you can see, and I have put these from left to right. These are my projected starters, so don't freak out. Don't take any of this seriously or anything like that. But left to right, rookie, first-round pick out of Oklahoma. My son, my wife, my son, and I actually just went to Oklahoma. My wife is from there. So we drove to and from over the weekend and had a great time visiting family. I posted some pictures on a tractor. My Instagram, it was awesome. And my son just really likes to say that word. Oklahoma is how he likes to say it. So it makes me think of him. But Tyler Guyton, a Sooner, of course, the probable left tackle for the Cowboys this coming season. Tyler Smith, also the Oklahoma area, out of Tulsa, there at left guard for the Cowboys, not kicking him outside as we kind of thought they might at the beginning of the offseason. Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State. We are projecting to be the starting center for the Dallas Cowboys, the third-round draft pick, the same pick the Cowboys picked up from the Detroit Lions, moving down from 24 to 29 in the first round of the draft. Zack Martin, the GOAT, at right guard as usual, and Terence Steele at right tackle. Primary depth. These are contenders, obviously. We'll see who winds up kind of emerging as the top swing tackle option, things like that. But let's go ahead and get to the names. Brock Hoffman. I know that people have thoughts on Brock Hoffman. We're going to get there, I promise. TJ Bass as well. Chuma Edoga coming back. Awesome Richards. Matt Waletzko. People forget. People kind of, I think, say the wrong things sometimes. Matt Waletzko was the player acquired with the 5th-round draft pick that the Cowboys got from the Cleveland Browns in the Amari Cooper trade. Sorry, I was looking up at the Euro score. Looks like Austria is going to hold on. Anyway, Matt Waletzko is that player. Nathan Thomas, also a rookie draft pick of the Cowboys this year. The more category is my kind of nice way of saying probably not going to make the roster. Josh Ball, Earl Bostic Jr., and Dakota Shepley. Okay, so let's kind of start with our primary players, and there's not a lot to say about Tyler Guyton that we haven't said already. Obviously, there is a lot riding on Tyler Guyton and whether or not the Cowboys are going to pull this off again. And it is a risky bet. It is a risky proposition. It is risky business. That's right. Great joke by me. Anyway, it is a risky proposition to play a rookie at left tackle. But remember, the Dallas Cowboys did it 2 years ago. Granted, not necessarily by design, more so by emergency, what with Tyron Smith getting hurt and Tyler Smith doing it so wonderfully throughout the course, the majority of his rookie year. Tyler Guyton doing it is, a project that remains to be seen. But if, and this is what I keep saying, if the Cowboys have earned the benefit of the doubt in any way, if you are willing or able to blindly trust the Dallas Cowboys on anything, it should be rather evaluation of top tier premium offensive linemen. They have given Tyler Guyton the seal of approval, which means I am willing to trust fall and believe that this is going to work out. Obviously, training camp is going to be big for him. We want to see him go up against Micah Parsons a couple of times, obviously DeMarcus Lawrence a couple of times. But this bed has kind of been made, and now it's a matter of lying in it for the Dallas Cowboys. Next up, along the interior, Tyler Smith, who is, I think, one of the more underrated guards in the entire NFL. And maybe this is the year where he really kind of, takes center stage as one of the premium interior linemen across the NFL. One of the best players in the Cowboys. There's just what else can we say? What else can we add? He is wonderful. And I was, for a little while, on team kick Tyler out to left tackle, not Tyler Guyton, obviously. This remains a confusing thing. But I was there because this has been a weird offseason, and the Cowboys have gone about things in a unique and interesting way. And I would have liked to have seen them maybe pay a little bit more attention, show a little bit more urgency, but it worked out, and that's okay. That being said, that Tyler Smith gets to stay at the position where he has thrived the most, where he was intended to play when the Cowboys drafted him out of Tulsa 2 years ago, is a win for everyone involved. And it's a win for the Cowboys pocketbooks this time next year when Tyler Guyton is eligible for Tyler Smith. See, I already did it. When Tyler Smith is eligible for a contract extension with the team, this is the final year before that is the case. Remember that in March when we're dealing with all sorts of financial discussions, obviously a month after the Cowboys have hosted a Super Bowl parade. But anyway, solid right here. Let's move along. Along the interior, Cooper Beebe. And I did a video when we found out what the Arizona Cardinals were interested in offering the Dallas Cowboys in the first round, and kind of talked about how Dallas really came out on top with what they got from the Lions. And obviously it looks even better when we found out rather, that it was Cooper Beebe who they obtained, or with that pick that they netted from the Detroit Lions. And it was always necessary for the Cowboys, obviously going into the draft, to get capital like that, to do something like this. And Cooper Beebe projects to be the starting center for the Dallas Cowboys, a highly intelligent player, highly versatile player, obviously. This is a dream, and there will be, learning blocks that have to be, overcome, and there will be some bumps in the road, and there will be a learning curve. But I think that the future of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is in some incredibly safe, sturdy, and aggressive hands in Cooper Beebe, and that is a really exciting thing. But starting two rookies along the offensive line is a dangerous game. There's just no way to go about that. Even two players with such a high pedigree and such lofty expectations the way Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe have. And so the Dallas Cowboys are kind of peeing into the wind a little bit here, and we'll see if it ultimately works out for them. And the reason you can play two rookies on your offensive line is because you have savvy veterans like Tyler Smith and, of course, like Zack Martin. Now, the Dallas Morning News had an article right around minicamp time with a quote from Zack Martin talking about how, or not talking about, but sort of wondering, really might be the best way to put it, whether or not this could be Zack Martin's final year. Remember, he was a rookie 10 years ago. So you're talking about year, 11, whatever it is, for him at this moment in time. And so, yeah, we are obviously much closer to the end of the career for Zack Martin, the Hall of Fame career for Zack. So Tyron didn't get a Super Bowl ring with the Cowboys. Travis Frederick didn't. Jason Witten didn't. Des Bryant didn't. Sean Lee, Dan Bailey, the list. Tony Romo, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Don't let Zack Martin join that list. Dallas Cowboys, don't. Get him one before it's too late. I have nothing to add. He is the GOAT. Right tackle, Terence Steele. Terence has been, I think, a really interesting, I think Terence Steele represents the way Dallas Cowboys fans are feeling most of the time. If the team is doing well and people are happy, people are cool with him. But if the team is performing poorly, he's kind of one of the immediate targets for criticism. I think he's become underrated. Maybe there was a point in time where he was so underrated that he became overrated. It's a weird phenomenon that we've talked about in the past. He's a fine player. He's a fine right tackle option. I think that's okay to kind of say out loud. He's a solid player. And as a undrafted free agent 4 years ago, what more can you ask? So solid return, more than solid return on investment. Right tackles in safe hands. Hopefully Terence Steele continues to kind of play par for the course in 2024, which takes us to our depth. Chuma Edoga, the most senior member of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, depth department, maybe a candidate for swing tackle, maybe a candidate to just be general depth. I don't know. I don't feel great about this. I have a hard time kind of figuring out who is ultimately going to be the swing tackle for the team. We continue with depth. Brock Hoffman, some thought could be the starting center for the Dallas Cowboys, obviously before the Cooper Beebe draft pick. Maybe. I mean, I think he's got a spot on the team. Let's not get crazy here, but I I think we're all rooting for Cooper Beebe against Brock Hoffman. No offense to Brock. I mean, we want, and that has more, not even more to do with Cooper Beebe. That has everything to do with Cooper Beebe and nothing to do with Brock Hoffman. But a fine, serviceable center option in an emergency, and therefore to have as a high point of depth. TJ Bass, I know a lot of people had been interested about as a potential interior guard option. There was, of course, before the drafting of Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe, some discussion about kicking Tyler Smith out to left tackle, playing TJ Bass at left guard, playing, Hoffman at center. I mean, there were all sorts of amalgamations that we had kind of discussed and worked around and toyed around with. But ultimately, I think you're talking about two high points of depth on the Dallas Cowboys roster along the interior, which may, just kind of for lack of opportunity elsewhere, leave Chuma Edoga with the swing tackle position, which takes us to, let me get the group list up here once more. Let's say there are 10, right? Let's say there are 10 offensive linemen. We've got 5 starters, right? Boom, there's your 5. Now you got to come up with 5 from the next column here. And I think Nathan Thomas has, the inside track over, say, Matt Waletzko because he's a draft pick, and that certainly helps. Again, I don't know that it's controversial to say that Josh Ball, Earl Bostic Jr., Dakota Shepley not going to make the 53-man roster. We could totally see, there's always surprises. Somebody could have an amazing camp, an amazing preseason, whatever. But if we're talking about 10, maybe 11, but 10 for sure offensive linemen, I think obviously you've got 5 on the left there. Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass, Chuma Edoga, Austin Richards, kind of still has some time, I think, to prove this coaching staff right. That's 4. So now you got to come up with one more. Matt Waletzko, the Amari Cooper draft pick trade, may be out the door, ironically, with the first game the Cowboys will play in 2024 against Amari Cooper for the first time since executing that trade. But that's where the kind of, I don't know that there are any real questions here, right? There's no, I think that, when this team trots out at training camp for the first time, I fully expect left tackle to maybe be Chuma Edoga, for, center to maybe be Brock Hoffman, maybe TJ Bass is in there, whatever. I mean, you get my point. The Cowboys aren't going to trot Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe out, right away for formality or whatever the case may be. I think, by the second, maybe halfway into the second week, we're starting to see Guyton and Beebe working with the ones. That being said, Hoffman, Bass, Edoga, Richards offer viable, legitimate depth. And again, I think Chuma Edoga is probably your swing tackle option. I don't feel great about that, but I don't know any team out there that feels wonderful about their swing tackle. So that final spot, it's going to be Matt Waletzko, Nathan Thomas. I think they're the ones that are really in any kind of whatever battle, if you want to say that there is one going on. I don't know how Josh Ball could put himself into that mix. He's failed every time the Cowboys have tried to use him here, there, or wherever. Yeah, it all comes down to who's going to take that 10th spot or whether or not the Cowboys want to carry 11. I don't think that they're going to do so myself, but there's always a surprise or two when it comes to 53-man roster construction. But the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is not what it once was. In fact, it's not a hot take to say that it's worse than it was when the season ended last year. And, well, duh, you don't have Terence Smith and Tyler Biotish on your team anymore. And it's going to take time before Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe get to a solid NFL level. And we need to be patient with them. We need to remember that. We don't need to freak out if things, are a little bit tough at the very beginning here. But they have high ceilings, going to be important parts of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line for years to come, obviously with Tyler Smith. Obviously, as mentioned, Zack Martin closer to the end of his career. Terence Steele's not an old player, but, time moves fast in the NFL. So it is, I think, right now kind of maybe an average NFL group from left to right if you're talking about the starters. And now's the time for the Dallas Cowboys to prove how right they were and how stupid we all were for making fun of them for going about things the way that they did. It's time to prove yourselves right, Dallas Cowboys. Prove us wrong. We will absolutely apologize to you if you do. I'm really hoping and rooting, for you to prove me wrong. Because I would love nothing more than for you to have lots of success and to say I was wrong. I judged you incorrectly. So, boom, that is our offensive line discussion here in our Dallas Cowboys roster breakdown series on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. If you have not yet, please consider subscribing once again. Like the video, turn on notifications. Those things really help us out. If you like what I do, my name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads at RJ Ochoa, or on TikTok at RJ.Ochoa. If you want to send me an email, you can do so, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, or you can leave a comment down below, and I will do my very best to get to those as well. As noted, this is Tuesday, June 25th. We'll be back on Thursday, not January, but June 27th with the latest installment in our Dallas Cowboys roster breakdown series. Moving to the defensive side of the ball with the edge rushers, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. We mentioned those names. We're going to be talking about them in a lot more detail on Thursday, so make sure you subscribe, like I said, so you do not miss that. I wrote about this. We'll be writing about this write about everything at bloggingtheboys.com. So make sure you check that out now. And always, for now, I'm going to tip my hat to you and bid you adieu, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful time. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you next time.